So this Mucar 682 scanner is actually really good. I've got an Autel £500 scanner, which is still fairly basic for a pro one. It's reliable, but it's fairly basic. This is more reliable and it's so much cheaper. If you watch the rest of the video, you'll see it in action. I'm not going to go into great detail about the basic specs like the battery and stuff in it. I just want to show it working on a car in the real world. I rate it. I think it's very good value for money. I don't think you can actually beat it for the money. And speaking of which, if you're thinking about getting one of these, there's a link in the description and a little code there so you can get 10% off of it. I don't make any money off of that, but it just seems crazy not to pass on the discount if you're going to buy it anyway. So hopefully this video is of interest. So I've been sent this to review. It's not sponsored in the sense that they've paid me to review it, but they have given me this for free, and I've got no instructions. I don't have to say nice things. I don't have to bring out any particular features. All they said is that I have to include Mucar 682 in the title. That's it. So let's see if it's any good. So this car does have a little warning light on, so we'll see if this can pick up what it is. We'll just go straight in with the auto search. That is correct, it is a Master 3. This is just like every other generic scan tool, Chinese ones that I've tried. They all have this exact same user interface, so I imagine that it's going to be pretty much exactly the same as all the other ones that I've used. I think the real selling point for these is not the fact that they can read fault codes, it's the special functions, like whether it can program stuff, whether it can do actuation tests, whether it can, you know, like reset a steering angle sensor or regenerate a DPF. All that kind of stuff is what you're really after. It's going to take a minute just to go through and scan. It has scanned the modules that I'm after, and it's only done 53%, and it's taking ages, so I'm just going to suspend the other ones. There we go, because I'm not interested in them. So this is pretty cool. Preheating, blah blah blah. Fuel pressure sensor above threshold. That would be our engine fault. Multiplex network, that's a CAN fault. Brake pad wear warning light, open, short circuit to earth, active. That is the light that we have on the dash. It's a brake warning light. Just go clear DTCs. We clear it with the engine on. Ignition on and engine stopped. Okay. A little bit slow. I don't mind if these things are slow as long as they're good. It's definitely slower than other scan tools that I've used. So let's just go system selection, let's go into the engine control, and let's go actuator tests. Yeah, nice. So EGR valve, for example. Turn the engine off, turn the ignition back on. So open and close the EGR valve, and then it should tell you whether there's a problem with it or not. Okay. So it doesn't tell you whether everything's okay or not. It's just an actuator test. It's no problem. Same with this one here. Yeah, there we go. I think it's just going to be the same with all of them. It'll just tell you this complete. Some of them will give you a pass or a fail. They'll say like, yeah, it's done it, everything was okay. This one doesn't do that, which could be improved upon, but it's still useful to be able to open and close it. Like you could remove an EGR valve, plug it back in, and then you could command it open and see if the rod gets stuck or anything like that. Of course, the only downside with this one is that the cable is very short, so you couldn't take it anywhere. So there's a lot of live data on this. Some of these are really useful. Like for example, if you have a car that won't start, so you see it says TDC synchronization not done. So that's the camshaft and crankshaft synchronization. So we turn the ignition on, fire it up, and then you see it'll say done. So if you were starting a car and that was still saying not done, then that would indicate a timing problem or a problem with the crankshaft sensor or a camshaft sensor or something like that. So that's nice. Good to get some live data like that, and there is tons of live data on so many different things as well. Loads of EGR stuff. It's just nice to see that there's so much live data, because that's what you need when you're diagnosing. It does have these buttons on the side as well, which I've not been using. Let's go back to a different control module. Let's go to the... let's just go to the ABS. Ooh, actuator tests. I wonder if there are any. This is good. Ignition on, engine stops. We can do that. Oh, there you go. I heard that. Okay, so I imagine if it passes, it just says command finished. So that's good, man. These are some really helpful tests as well. Like if you had a fault code for, you know, ABS pump motor, feed, power, short circuit or something like that, but on here you can manually turn it on with the scan tool, then you know that the circuitry going to it has the capability of turning it on, and that you probably don't need a new pump. So they can be powerful for stuff like that. If you are a mechanic, this one here is so useful. I'm in the instrument panel, and this is in the actuation tests, and then instrument warning lights. You just hit OK, and then it'll put them all on. So if somebody says to you, I've got a warning light on, you can say which one is it, and they can point and show you. It's really, really helpful, because I've had that before where people have told me they've a light on, and it turns out they were talking about a different one, even though I point, you know. This just helps you to get it right. Also just helps you to know that all the lights are working. Good maybe if you're buying a used car, make sure no one's taken the bulb out of it like you can on some cars. Try the buzzer on it. Ooh. How exciting. So these are the modules that are usually rubbish. So the supplemental restraint system will go into here. Aha, yeah, you see, so there's no actuation tests, but then there wouldn't be. You don't want to turn on the airbag, do you? Let's have a look at the live data and see what we've got. Okay, this is actually good. Locking circuit impedance for all of the different airbags is good that you can look at. That'll just tell you whether someone's locked the airbag on the passenger side or not. Let's just have a look at one of these then. Oops, my bad. absolutely perfect. Anywhere between there up to like 23 ohms would be pretty normal impedance for one of these airbag systems. On a Renault anyway. It can be different on different cars, but that's fine. Good, very nice. So I'm just looking in the maintenance section. If this thing can actually code keys, that would be incredible. I don't think it can. If it can for the price, that would be absolutely astonishing. Let's search Renault. Switch the ignition to on. I'm sure that's right. Yeah, error. That's what I thought. So I imagine that there's probably 1 or 2 cars that you can program a key on, which gives them the ability to say that it does technically program keys for some makes and models, but it's probably not widely done. So if you were planning on programming keys, I would not rely on this to do it for you. It sure can do injector coding. Although it's okay to play around with these, you do need to be careful. You wouldn't want to just start typing in random things and basically uncode your injectors. They're measured, they're calibrated, because it has a little needle in it which opens and closes. And the number that is on the top of it is basically how strong the spring is, how much pressure it takes to open and close it, and the ECU uses that to calculate how long it should be open for, and that'll calculate how much fuel goes into the engine. So if you don't calibrate them, then your engine won't run as efficiently as it could. You don't want that. It could cost you a lot in fuel over a long period of time, and also lead to premature failure if it overworks the injector. Special functions, yeah, there you go. Nice. I'm going to cancel it because I don't actually want to put in an injector code, but that's nice to know. If I ever change an injector, I can use this to code in the new one. I'm now in a 2005 Volvo, and I just want to see what this is like on some older cars. Very good. Nice, spot on. Let's just go with the Helter port. This one here should have loads wrong with it. So this is great, this is all correct. I've checked it with a few other scan tools because I just wanted to check how reliable this thing is, and this is definitely correct. And it does have a faulty left front wheel speed sensor. Really diagnosed that. It doesn't actually have anything wrong with the airbag system. There's a problem with the instrument cluster, which is pretty common on these. Yeah, this is also true. The air conditioning was recently degassed to replace the intercooler. I did a video on that. So there's no gas in the AC at the moment. So it makes sense why we've got an AC pressure code. So that's good. I think this is really, really good. You know, you can. So you just want to look at that. We'll bring the window down. Brilliant. I think stuff like this is really helpful for fault finding. Just being able to test things. Obviously this is just sending power straight to the motor, which is fantastic. So if you had like a faulty switch or something, but the motor still works, then you can diagnose that pretty quickly with this. I would say for the money, this is probably one of the best scan tools that you could buy. It does a lot. Even if you were using this professionally, I think that there isn't much that it wouldn't be able to do. So for the money, I think it's fantastic. And also the other thing I really, really like that there's a little relief around here to stop this from getting damaged, because on most scan tools I've used with these this part here always gets damaged eventually, especially if you leave it always plugged in. But the fact that it's in a little recess down here just helps to protect it, which I thought was pretty good. The only thing, again, second time I've mentioned it, it's not really that big of a deal. I would just like if this cable was just slightly longer, but it's fine. It's not a big deal. Great little thing. I would definitely recommend it.